Hello, welcome to the Loney Show. I'm your host, John Maloney, and in this episode, I brought on regular Eric Taylor. And as for our guest, she's from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. She's a surgical I don't know how to say it, surgical oncology, a nurse and singer, and a singer for three bands. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Freddie Stover.
Hi, thank you. Good morning. It's so wonderful to be here. Yeah, it is early. Well, I'm used to getting up early. So right now, my time, it's late for me. So, but it's still early for a lot of people. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome.
Mm,
So, how's
anytime.
life? How's life?
Life is good. It really is. Even through, all the pandemic and everything, I'm starting to, as I call it, wake up as far as you mentioned, I'm a singer. So, and I have three bands and getting ready for 2022. I have a few shows booked, and then I have about three award ceremonies I'm going to be attending as a nominee. So, and then work, we're busy. The kind of work I do, it's surgical oncology.
Okay.
Um, and so it's busy. It's kind of around about this time every year, like I start, becoming busy between work and the music. So I love it. Wouldn't trade it for the world.
So, what made you want to pursue music?
Um, when I was a kid, a couple neighborhood friends and we would just pretend we were singers in a band or in a group, and we were singing in front of thousands of people, and we would pick the latest songs that were out that we knew that we really liked, and we just sing. And then my mom bought me a pink microphone one year when I was a kid, and it had like a little cord attached, attached to a little plastic box, looked like a radio or a speaker, and I would pretend to sing. And then about 15, I joined the church choir and did my first solo. That was a disaster. And that's where my stage fright came. And I was scared to death. I still am, but it's not as bad as it was. I had to, develop not being so afraid over the years. But then church choirs throughout the years, my early 20s, 30s. And then about 1996, I was dating this guy that was a bass player in a blues band, and he heard me sing the song Silent Night. That's one of my favorite songs to sing around Christmas time. And he said, I didn't know you could sing. And I said, I didn't know that either. And then, he told me they were looking for a singer for their band. And I was very hesitant, but he convinced me. And I went and auditioned for the band. And then lo and behold, my first ever organized professional band, Blues Music Works, I joined and I've been singing ever since.
Wow, that is very interesting. And you said you were part of three bands too?
I have three bands. They're my own bands now. Miss Freddie's Blues Band. We strictly do blues, a little bit of R&B. And then there's Miss Freddie's Home Cooking Band. It used to be an acoustic band, but now we've developed there are five of us. And we do blues, classic rock, and some gospel. And then from that home cooking band, we do gospel, and that third band is called Glory Be. So yeah, and they're all my bands. I'm the band leader, the booking agent, this is the music I want to sing. Yeah, I'm the all around person for all three bands. So I love it. I enjoy it because the guys don't want to do. I always try to be very fair and ask them every year anybody who wants to take over what I'm doing, because I'll just show up for rehearsal and for the gigs. And nobody wants to do that. And that's okay, because I just get a big laugh out of it. I said, really? I said, but yet you all, you lead busy lives. I'm like, I just work and, I do this. So, but yeah, those
Uh,
are my three bands.
wow, so you're pretty much carrying all three bands, that like carrying all of them pretty much, right? And
Yeah, 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 pretty much. And you know what? It's I guess it comes from like you have to be able to prioritize. You have to be able to be organized. There's days I'm not organized, and that's okay. I don't want to be a perfectionist, but it wasn't easy at first because I had no clue. I had no idea. But over the years, I've developed where, I'm very mindful of my guys, um, and, very respectful. And they've all had more musical experience than I have. So, and it works out. We get along. There's days I may disagree and they may disagree with me, but at the end of the day, they're really good guys to work with. They really are. And I'm very blessed to have
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Just amazing.
them.
Great.
Uh, yeah, great.
What was life for you growing up?
Oh wow, I was a tomboy growing up, and I had fun. I was more like an outdoorsy kind of person. Like I love skateboarding, roller skating. I love playing baseball, which that's still my first love as far as sports now. Um, I tried playing football. I didn't like it, so I stuck with baseball. And I just love walking outside. Like I loved Mother Nature. Like I would spend time in the woods because there were woods near where we lived at. And I would just spend hours playing with the insects, just watching the sun and watching the wind blow and just sitting there, just, listening. So that was my thing. And growing, and then as I got into middle school, as I got into the ninth grade, I had to stop being a tomboy and become more of a lady. So, and my mother knew that. And, I came from a good home. My mother was very strict. I was the oldest child. I'm the oldest of out of the four siblings. And she was very strict on me. Although by the time I became a teenager, I wanted to be a rebel, and of course that didn't fly in my mother's house. You didn't do that. You had to follow rules, and she was strictly a rules person. And at 16 in the summertime, there was no school. I had to be in the house, and when the street lights came on, and it's like, are you kidding me? I would never say that to her, and I had no choice. So I'm glad my mother was strict. I didn't understand that, and I really tried to rebel against that. But as I've gotten older, I understood why she did that, and a lot of her teachings I still use. I abide by, today. So all in all, I was a tomboy. It was fun. I got blamed for a lot of stuff my siblings did, and they knew it, but I would not throw them under the bus, so to speak. That's the term. I wouldn't say that wasn't me. I had proof that they did whatever they did, but I just took their blame. I know my
Yeah.
siblings are going to hear this, but that's okay. I love you all.
Well, first off, you were the complete opposite of me because when I was younger, I mean, actually, no, when I was younger, I did go outside, but as I got older, I stopped going outside for two reasons. One, for one reason, I don't know, for some reason, people would mess with me. And two, outside was just getting boring to me. I don't know.
Ah,
Like at first,
okay.
yeah, at first I stayed outside because of the people, but then I just started growing up. But then I just started liking staying inside, and I was like, you know what? I like this. I like watching TV. I like eating and like doing whatever I want. So I'm just gonna do this and that. And
Yeah.
as, yeah, as for the people blaming, I wouldn't take the blame for anyone. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I would
You
I
would
would take the
not,
blame.
you wouldn't last in my household because my siblings, God bless them. I love them, but man, I mean, it was terrible because it was like a no-win situation for me. It's either, okay, I take the blame or I prove that they did it, but then it would still be my fault. I said, you know what, whatever. But then I think my mother knew. I swear she had eyes and ears in the back of her head because my mother knew everything we did, everything. And I found that out as I became an adult and I had my own family, and we would sit around and talk. And then, like my first time I went away to college, I would come home on the weekends would never go see my mother. Never. I would just come home and party with friends and do whatever. And then I found out years and years later, my mother knew I was doing that. And I'm like, how did she know? Had to be somebody, one of my friends or the guy that I was dating at the time had to, somebody had to tell her. It's like, how do they know that? But yeah, yeah. I,
uh,
I caught myself trying to get away with stuff, but I really wasn't getting away with anything.
that's amazing. That is
Yeah.
amazing. I love that.
Yeah. Do you travel often?
um, well, before the pandemic, I did a little traveling, but not a lot. I've been to Memphis, Tennessee a few times. I went to San Jose, California. Never been to California. My very first time to record my second album. And I went to West Virginia, which is, a lot. Excuse me. Like every year, I would go to West Virginia several times to perform. And so I would say, all in all, I'm thinking I probably would do 40% traveling because I still work full time as a nurse. So, I can only travel but so much.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And speaking of you being a nurse, what is the craziest thing that's ever happened to you while being a nurse?
Let me see. There are several stories to that one. Let me see. The most craziest thing that happened. Oh man. Uh, wow, fellas. Let's see. Hmm. Um, um, wow. I'm thinking because there's so many. Let's see. The craziest thing that ever happened to me. Oh, well, the wildest thing that has ever happened to me as a nurse. I remember it was some years ago. I was a bedside nurse because I work as an outpatient nurse now. I work in a clinic.
Hmm.
So, but as a bedside nurse, I was taking care. I was in charge one night, and it was fine. And we were short staffed, and it was still manageable. And all of a sudden, we had, and it was the wildest thing because you have to be prepared for it. And it was crazy too. All of a sudden, we had three patients code at the same time. It was unbelievable. I said, OMG. One patient was having chest pain, one patient started bleeding, one patient fell. Are you kidding me? And
Oh
it was,
gosh.
and none of them were my patients. So, so I had to prioritize first, the heart attack, or the chest pain. Actually, the person did end up having a heart attack, but the chest pain was top priority. So, and you should have seen it. The floor was in total chaos. There were three teams of, emergency, code teams up there. And, I only had two aides that night. I'll never forget that. That was the wildest, craziest thing. Three codes going on at one time because the person that fell had passed out. And it was just, oh my goodness, the chest pain, the fall, and then the bleeding. But you had to hurry up to make
Wow.
sure,
Oh my
it
gosh.
yeah, it was like, your adrenaline was going, whatever you were doing, it's kind of like, what do we do? What do we do? And I had a couple brand new nurses had started. So that was their experience. So yeah, that was the craziest thing that happened.
Okay.
Wow. Incredible.
Wow, that's crazy. So have you ever had any like creepy patients or anything like that?
Um, no, not really, to be perfectly honest. Unusual requests from a patient.
Like
One
in
time,
wait, like an old I'm sorry, like an old man asking for like if you can give him a sponge bath or something.
Oh no, I'm used to that. Like a young man wanting, if like if you wanted him his cooperation and taking care of him, you had to sing the SpongeBob theme song.
Oh my gosh.
Ah,
Yeah.
what? Bro, what?
What?
Yep. Oh, absolutely. And you know the funny thing, and I tell people, I said, growing up, I love cartoons. So even now, I have my favorite cartoons. And I remember my youngest, when he was in school, and he's on the autism spectrum.
Ah,
He loves SpongeBob, and so do I. And I still watch SpongeBob till this day. He made me. It's like a life-size SpongeBob out of paper mache. It was really good. I couldn't believe it. I loved it. And so, I thought it wasn't my patient, but this nurse, she came and she was telling, a group of us, she's like, I can't get this person to do anything. Can you guys please help me? And we're like, okay, what do you need? And she's like, does anybody know the SpongeBob theme? Well, there was a moment of silence and then they bust out laughing. And I'm like, well, I know some of it. I said, just bring it up on your phone, you guys, and just turn it low and just make sure you can hear it. That was the weirdest thing for me, and
ah,
after that, the. Was fine.
yeah. I mean, bro. I don't know if I don't know if I could sing the SpongeBob theme song. I don't really know it by heart, but I don't really know it all by heart, and that's crazy because I grew up watching SpongeBob too, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't. Do they still make that new SpongeBob? Because it's like I like the old episodes better
Yeah, there are
personally.
some new episodes that are out. So yeah. There are
Wow.
new episodes out. They come out like what, every couple months or so, something like that. But yeah, there's new
Wait,
SpongeBob episodes.
every couple of months? That sounds familiar because I used to watch Cartoon Network, and they used to do that with Adventure Time. So it's like, dang, every couple of months.
Yeah,
Are they
yeah,
do?
because
Are they?
I'll notice, I'm like, oh, this is a new episode. I haven't watched this. And the funny thing about it, my youngest, who is 30 now, he knows like the dialogues of some of the old SpongeBob. We'll be sitting there watching SpongeBob, and he knows some of the old dialogues to the episodes. I'm like, that's amazing. I remember the episode, but I don't know what they're going to say next. So,
I
yeah.
mean, yeah. Yeah. I remember some of the old dialogues in some old cartoons too. So it's like, shoot, I'm rewatching some old cartoons now because it's like, why not? Like
Yeah,
I
why
love the
not?
yeah, I still love some of the old cartoons I used to watch to this very day.
Yeah,
I do.
yeah, yeah. I have my favorite. SpongeBob used to be my favorite, and I still watch the Fairly Odd Parents. But my favorite now to watch is The Loud House. I absolutely love that cartoon, that family with those 11 kids, the one brother, and he has the sisters, the 10 sisters. That is just, I love it because at the end of the day, the kids are all taught lessons from what their parents, and it's just really like nice. But the girls kind of rule the brother, but then they still listen to the brother because he's like the middle child. There's five sisters, before him and five after him, so he's like that middle child and the only boy. So that's my favorite cartoon.
Oh yeah, no, that cartoon is definitely good too. I watched some of it too, and like it's really good.
Yeah, yeah,
I actually still watch some of it to this very day. I do.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's really good.
Yep.
Which recent news story have you found most interesting?
Wait, what story?
Recent news story.
um let's see. I think the most interesting that, well, there's a lot of interesting things going on in the world, but I think the most interesting to me is the whole doping situation in the Olympics.
Ah, yes.
And a lot of people don't understand the United States Doping Committee is very different from the Olympics Doping Committee. I think ours is very strict. and they have to remember it's two different committees. And I just found it interesting because a lot of people are very opinionated and they don't understand. And it's like, you got to remember, we're not the Olympics doping committee. We're the United States and we have our own set of rules. So I found that interesting because I used to run track and field, not for Olympics or anything, but in high school and college. And it's just kind of interesting to hear the different opinions. And I'm the type of person, before you start becoming opinionated, make sure you have all your facts, make sure you do a lot of research, and then form your own opinion. So that's the most interesting that I have found, because it's sports. Sports is very, very, it's very different. So yeah,
It's
that's what I found most interesting.
yeah, it's ironic because I usually do use that same like logic. If I don't know much about anything, I won't comment on it
Hmm.
because it's like I don't have that much knowledge about it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Because I'm not going to sit there like some blibbering like person, like just babbling just to hear myself talk. I'm like, that's a waste of my air. I'm not doing that. I'm just not
Yeah,
doing that. I love breathing too much. So, but yeah, and
I mean,
and I have to correct myself. It's the anti-doping committees. Sorry, I said doping committees, but it's anti-doping. But yeah, this is kind of interesting because I remember when I used to like be on a debate team years, like when I was in high school. It was just very interesting. And back then, um, our coach made sure that, you have your facts, you know what you're talking about, and you be confident about it. Because your opponent, if they're really good at body language and everything, they're going to pick up, like you're not confident. So if we're talking about something like this, if we're going back debating and we've got the facts and all that, but then if you're not sure, like if the other team brings up something, so I try to make sure I know. Sometimes I don't. It depends if I'm talking to coworkers or we're talking about something, and then they'll come up with something. And it's like, oh, okay. So we, at the end of the day, we agree to disagree, but to agree.
Yeah.
So
true that, true that. I like the yeah.
If you could travel back in time, which decade would you live in?
oh, I love the 1920s. That is my favorite time period in history.
Hmm.
um I love the whole drama of it all. I love the clothes. I love the party scene. I think the Roaring Twenties is my favorite time period.
Great.
Hmm.
Fabulous.
All right, great. And when did you realize that was your favorite time period?
Probably when I was a kid, because when I was a kid, like in elementary school, elementary and middle school, we got a lot of history. Like I loved my history classes. And then it talked about all different time periods. And I had this one teacher that was really into the 1920s, like back then. And then I kept listening and I did some research on my I absolutely loved it. Yeah, there was the Great Depression coming up, and but you have the speakeasies and you have the way they dress, the way they act, so that's my favorite time period. I just absolutely loved it.
Hmm. Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Great.
that's fair.
So, have you done anything exciting lately?
Going back and forth to work. I take public transportation and watching the people. Um, Nothing exciting yet because it's been winter and I really don't drive in the snow, so I'll just, go back and forth to work. But my excitement is going to come up when I go back in the studio. But nothing, I haven't did anything exciting since December, and I did a couple outdoor shows, holiday shows. And back in November, Pittsburgh has what's called Light Up Night, and that's when they light the Christmas tree downtown, and they have different bands playing different kind of music, and then they have fireworks at the end of the night, and that's always exciting. I love doing Light Up Night, and I'm not just saying it. I really love it because I used to go to Light Up Night a lot before I start performing for it, and that was very exciting. The fireworks were absolutely spectacular. I loved it. It was great, and it was really nice seeing people that I had not seen in a long time. There were thousands of people down there, so that was great. And to get up on stage with my blues band, and we're just playing away, and people are dancing, and we had people shouting. That was exciting. So the excitement is going to continue now that it's starting to get warmer. Well, I'm thinking probably in about another month it'll be nice and warm, and I have some shows coming up, so, and then going in the studio. So that's it. That's my excitement.
Yeah, yeah, and as soon as it begins to get warmer, as the kids say each year, it's going to be a hot boy or hot girl summer, as the
Yep.
kids say.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying,
It's a classic.
yep, exactly. And I don't know what song started that, but it started it.
Yeah.
I think that Meg the Stallion or City Girl started that. Back in my
Yeah,
day, we
yeah.
didn't have that. I grew up in 2002. I don't know why I'm saying that. I'm such an old
Okay.
head.
Yeah.
I'm like 19. I'm gonna be 20 this year.
Oh, cool, cool. Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why
What's
I'm
the
talking like that.
yeah?
Oh, I'm sorry.
What's the best thing you've ever bought from Amazon?
Did you say the best thing I bought from Amazon?
Yep.
You got to be kidding. Really? Okay. I have this long list.
Oh.
I got this long list. I have to tell you, when the pandemic started, and I had went back to work because we were, me and another nurse in the office, we were working from home for about a month and a half, almost 2 months. And then when I went back to work, I mean, I was new to Amazon, and I had this coworker that was telling me, he's like, "Oh yeah, do this and you can do this." And I was like, "Really?" Cuz Amazon's like, wow. The best thing that I bought from Amazon, let me see. Let me take a look around, fellas. Hold on. Let me see. Yeah, that was okay. Maybe.
Two
Oh,
hours later.
Oh, wait. The best thing that I bought was my flute because I used to play flute when I was in high school, and I used to be in a band. And then I dropped it when my oldest turned 3. And then I said, I want to do something. So that's the best thing I bought off of Amazon. It's a French flute. I love it. Um, so I'm starting to teach myself how to play flute again because I was self-taught as far as playing instruments when I was a teenager. It came easy to me, and then I kind of dropped it, went by the wayside. So yeah, flute was the best thing I bought off of Amazon.
Great. Fabulous.
Yeah, great.
Yep.
Uh,
What is the one thing you can't live without?
Hmm. The one thing I can't live without. Let's see. Honestly, I try to be very. I can't live without having my faith in my life. Honestly, that's how I am. Because I've seen and been through a lot in my lifetime. So I can't live without having my faith.
Hmm,
mm,
interesting.
wow, that's a great answer. I like that.
Yeah, I love
That's
that.
true. That's true though. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody is different. And, I try not to be preachy to people because the more it sounds like a lecture. And people after a while are bored, or it's like, I don't want to hear all that. It's like, you know what, let's move on. So, I just tell people, like that song "People Get Ready" by Curtis Mayfield. Faith is the key. So that's what I can't live without.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that is all we have for this episode. It was great having you here, Freddie. It was amazing. Fabulous.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it was great having you. Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate you guys. And I love talking with you, especially about SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I love that.
Oh, yeah.
That was my favorite.
Until next time, stay tuned for more.